Welcome to the Passive Mobile Home Park Investing Podcast with your host, Andrew Keel. This is the podcast where you can get the education you need to invest 100% passively in the highly profitable niche of mobile home parks.
Welcome to the Passive Mobile Home Park Investing Podcast. This is your host, Andrew Keel, and today we have an amazing guest in Miss Ekaterina Stepanova. But before we dive in, I want to ask a really quick favor of all of you. Would you mind to please stop right now, head over to iTunes, and leave us a 5-star review? This helps us get more listeners, and it also encourages me to know that you're listening in. Thank you all so much for doing that. All right, let's dive in. Ekaterina has over 12 years of international experience in advertising, production, project management, and operations. As a part of Ogilvy, I think I said that right, BBDO, Columbia Artists, and Citigroup, she has 14 years of successful residential real estate investing experience, along with 4 years of mobile home park investing experience. They have parks in Florida, Michigan, and Arizona. And Ekaterina is also the organizer and leader of the mobile home park investing community, MHP Tribe. Ekaterina, welcome to the show.
Andrew, nice to be here this beautiful Friday afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Would you mind starting out by telling us a little bit about your story and how you got into manufactured housing?
Sure, absolutely. I started like many investors probably do in single family investing. And I first rented my apartment back in Moscow. And then when I immigrated to United States, I started my real estate career by purchasing a turnkey out in Memphis. And by virtue of it being rather hard to manage from afar, and I had 2 subsequent evictions in the course of just 6 months, I I quickly realized that one tenant evicted means 100% vacancy. So I started looking into commercial real estate investing and multifamily investing, apartment investing, namely being such a competitive niche. I started looking elsewhere, and then I found mobile home park investing, and that was really interesting and exciting. So I thought I will give it a shot.
That's amazing. So Moscow, what would you, when you were in Moscow, was it affordable housing that you were investing in, or was it something completely different?
That was actually much simpler than that. That was my apartment that I purchased when I was in my early 20s, and that was my residence. That's where I lived. And then when we immigrated, for my husband and myself, we immigrated to New York. It was empty, so we rented it out. Well, my mom was my first property manager. She did a really good job, but I got a taste of this passive income. So especially when someone else is managing it for you, so I cannot go wrong with that.
Yeah. So you went right from that to turnkey rentals in Memphis, and tell us about that process and kind of the hurdles and how you found them.
Sure. Well, I started reading on Bigger Pockets about different ways to invest capital, and I thought, I'm in New York, it's not very affordable here, so I need to probably go out of state. So what can I do out of state that is safer, that is more stable, that I don't have to rehab, because I don't have background or really no knowledge of how to rehab anything. So I thought turnkey might be a path for me to go, and I was looking for the operator. So similar to when investors or LPs looking how to invest, they would look for the right sponsor. So I was looking for the right operator who would really take care of the property for me, who would take care of the residents for me. And by doing that research, I found the company that I thought would do a great job, and I purchased from them. And I was planning on purchasing many more homes from them. But I think it was just a turn of events and just destiny, how this really, good, and I would say pretty solid operating company had 2 evictions in my single family home in the course of just 6 months. It's really incredible, but they did. And I think that was really a turning point, and definitely I think it was a good luck for that I started looking into commercial real estate. So I think that was actually worked out after all.
I love your perspective, right? Like most people would say, okay, I had 2 evictions in the first 6 months on my, rental. Like, okay, maybe this isn't for me, right? Maybe this isn't for me. This is terrible. I'm down. I'm sad. I'm not getting the returns that I was expecting. But you turn it positive and say, you know what? This is good luck. I'm thankful that I had this struggle because it brought me to mobile home parks. I applaud you for that. Can you maybe tell us about M2K Partners?
Sure.
And how many parks you have now, and how you manage them and things like that?
Sure, absolutely. So when I started looking into mobile home park investing, I was looking for educational program that I could partake. And at that time, Sunrise Capital, I think Kevin Bob and Charles D. Hart, his former partner, they had an academy, which was a course that I took. And there through that and through them, really through networking within the group, I met my current partners, Matt Battinger, who is out of Atlanta, and Nick Villanueva, who is out of LA. So we pretty much all over the place. I'm in New York, so we all over the place. So is our parks. We started collaborating, just doing things together. And I think the most important thing is we really have, and as everyone will probably say, when a partnership, what is important? Important is to have complementary skills. And Andrew, as you were introducing me, very kindly mentioned that I had experience and expertise in advertising and marketing. So I was responsible for doing that part of our business: marketing, sourcing deals, and bringing them to our team. When Matt, he already at that time had several parks, so he knew operations, he knew how to take care of the turnaround projects. And our partner Nick, he's just a very savvy business person, and he has his own brokerage. He owned all kinds of commercial real estate, so he's just a very savvy investor. So and he brought in also his balance sheet, so to speak, to strengthen our position. And we started purchasing parks, and our first one was in Florida. Then while we were looking, that is funny, while we were looking for that, our first park to purchase, very exciting. For me, it was the first ever. For Nick, it was the second park. And for Matt, I think it was his fifth park. But for me, it was very exciting, and I couldn't wait to close. It took us, I think, over a year to find and actually close on our first park. So in the meantime, we had very specific criteria to our park. So it had to be a value add, it had to be in a strong economically market, it has to have good cap rate for us, or just we have to buy it at the right price. So all these different things had to come together. We need to be able to leverage it, put debt on it. So in the meantime, we were able to wholesale 2 parks while we were at it. So, and so I went out on due diligence. In the meantime, we had several other parks under contract, and for one reason or another, we were just not happy with the result of the due diligence. So we just chose not to proceed on, I think maybe 2 or 3 parks that we had in contract before that. And this was sourced directly from owners as well. And I think it is also very important to say when something doesn't look right, or it doesn't check out, or it's not exactly the deal for you, it doesn't look exactly right. And just say you don't want it, pull back. It's better than, you buy it, you own it. So
Yeah.
so so that's why, for one reason or another, something we discovered during due diligence as we're getting better and better at what we do. So we started to faster, also discovering things that were potential deal killers. And I think that's what really took us so long to get out to our first close. So a couple of parks that I mentioned, we wholesaled. There were in North Carolina. One we referred out, another one we legitimately wholesaled, and other people were very happy with them. They were just not the right ones for us. Either they were too run down or too far deep in the boonies and whatnot, and just didn't feel like we would like to own it. So for all different reasons, but we purchased our first park and we're very happy with our purchase. I think this became our staple, so to speak. We purchased really not volume, but very, very selectively, I would say. Our last park in Michigan, I was lucky enough that I had an opportunity to present it as a case study at SICO conference. Uh, it was a truly beautiful case study and a great buy for us. We were able to double the value of the park, more than double, just in the first year. We've done so many projects in that park, and this is something that we're looking to do when we look at the potential property to buy. So with that, we own a park in Michigan, we own in Arizona, we own in Florida, and currently closing on the one in Ohio. And again, it sounds like we're all over the place, but that's where the leads, the deals really dictate where we're going to be. So it just needs to be a really good deal that makes sense for us, and we have the right resources in place to really implement that.
Maybe you can share a little bit about your deal criteria. What do you look for, besides obviously a good cap rate, right? What do you have a certain criteria that you target?
Yes, we would like a deal that is, well, in a new market, it would really need to be probably, I would say, well, in Florida, the one in Florida, it's a little smaller, but the lot rents are rather high in Florida. So that is why we purchased that one. It's 42 spaces. And now in a new market, I would say probably the size wise, the deal would need to be probably over 80 spaces for us to really strongly considered, unless it's just such a steal. But we would look at economic strength of the market. That is something that you rarely can change, so it has to be in place. Then size, and then I would say probably we're not gonna, well, 100% we're not going to consider the lagoon situation. I know people who will, because they know how to operate that, but not us. We do not have experience in lagoons. We do not mind at all wastewater treatment plants or wells. I feel like we can get comfortable with those, but we would not consider a lagoon. And we would want to see a return of our capital within the first probably 2 to 3 years. So that will be our consideration, because we would want to turn park around and yeah, be able to have enough upside in it that we could double our investment in a couple of years. That would be the goal.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I gotta bring this up. You have one partner in New York yourself.
Yes.
You have one in Atlanta, and you have one in LA, right? All across the US.
Yeah.
And then you have properties in Arizona, Michigan, Florida, and Ohio. How do you manage those being so far apart? Does that ever, provide any issues? Maybe you could share a little bit about the management.
Sure. Well, Andrew, that's probably we're not a big operation, as you can see. We do not have regional manager or anything like that. So every deal we look at, we just really consider how we're going to operate this. Is there a person or maybe someone that we know is in place and we could leverage that relationship? For example, in Florida, we did have a relationship, and that was a very specific deal that included selling off park-owned homes to tenants, and we had a amazing expert in place in Florida who already worked in Florida and worked for my partner Matt in Alabama and his Florida park. So we were able to execute this deal specifically because we had him in place. So for Michigan, again, we just had the right people in place, and Michigan deal was completely different. We needed to do water submittering, electrical submittering, and also turning homes, rehabbing them and renting them out. And we had the right person who would be able to, who had a crew who would rehab homes and lease them out really quickly. So because of that, we were able to execute our plan. So it's really about people. Whether or not we have the right people in the right location with enough time, resource to execute our vision. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
not really, unfortunately, it's not like blanket, but yeah, it is a little bit of a unique approach to each deal. You have to really assess and see if that can be truly implemented.
definitely.
Mm.
You mentioned a little bit about how you find deals, direct to owner. Maybe you could share a little bit more about
Sure.
that process.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, as you may know as well, it used to be much easier. You would find deals just by writing to owners, calling them, maybe texting them. Now it's getting more and more difficult because market is oversaturated. And now we work, and we also, our team got busier, of course, with the parks. We need to operate the parks, make sure that turn around in time. So now we work with, and this is one of the reasons that I've started my mobile home park investing community, MHP Tribe, to see if we could find people who are out there marketing and could potentially work with us and maybe do marketing for us, and we could teach them and bring them into a deal and operate this together. So right now we still do our direct marketing, just we have someone who is helping us out with that. Our partner on the last deal that we did, she's really active right now with marketing. And we also have now new contacts who would maybe refer us a deal, and through just networking. That's really how it is right now.
That's great. Yeah, that's unique. I don't think there's a lot of operators out there that are truly leveraging, the networking side of generating deals. So that's very smart. How many deals have you guys taken full cycle, where you've fixed them up and sold them, or fix them up and refinance them? Maybe you can go through that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Andrew, as you mentioned, I'm an infant in the industry, so it's coming to my 4th year. So, and if we say, well, obviously not including our 2 deals that we wholesaled early on, we right now selling our first park, the Florida park. And the reason we're selling it is we really buy and hold investors, but this one was just again a smaller project. We didn't really think that we would like to hold it for long term, so it was always a 2-year plan for it. So now we are preparing to sell it. It's actually listed. It's in Pensacola MSA, and we are also preparing to refinance our Michigan park just in the 2nd quarter. So
Very
coming
nice.
up, coming up.
Kudos, because I know that'll be a nice payday for you guys, and a lot of hard work went into that. So
Yes,
that's fantastic.
thank you.
Maybe you could share what you feel are the most important things that passive investors need to look out for when investing into mobile home parks.
Of course. Well, Andrew, I think it's equally important as LPs would be investing in a mobile home parks or multifamily. They have to find operators who they can truly trust and who they know they will do the right thing, and maybe who they also have similar vision with, because you have to once we had this experience, we were looking at the Turnkey property, and
Yeah,
well
in Memphis.
and a Turnkey, it was a park,
Oh, gotcha.
and guess what, our investors, our partners, none of them had this appetite for Turnkey, because they said, no guys, but that's not what you do. Why would you do that? Go do your value add, leave that for someone else. So you have to truly have the same vision. LP or principal sponsor, you really have to have similar vision and know where you're going and what this entails. And I guess yeah, do due diligence on the operator, get familiar with them, and well, with the parks, I think it's very hard to know everything about parks. So many moving parts, aside from general criteria as economy, as maybe employment and other things. Uh, Mobile home parks also sometimes have private utilities, so it's really hard to know everything about everything. So I would just focus on vetting your principles.
Yeah, and that's been a recurring thing that a lot
Hmm.
of people that I've interviewed have said is
Hmm.
really spending time to vet that operator.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share a little bit about how you vetted the operators for the turnkey rentals in Memphis,
Hmm.
and kind of what levels you took to get comfortable with finding a good operator.
Hmm. Well, first, I think you need to just see if there is a specific market that you are interested in, then just see who operates there, who owns properties in that market, and talk to them, see what their goals are, what their philosophy is, and also I would, if you are located in that market, there is nothing better than to just drive through and see how the properties are kept, and do sort of a surprise inspection, drive through. Well, if you can, talk to residents, see how they are enjoying living in those properties. And I would also speak to previous investors, absolutely,
Hmm.
and see how they've been, how they've been enjoying, having those relationships. So I did that, and I think you just need to see how much time your principals or your sponsors are um, spending um, on investor relationship, because get money, just to do the fundraising part is rather easy, but then the real relationship begins. This is when how you're being treated. So I think there is nothing more valuable than um, talking to current or former investors of those LPs,
I love
properties,
that. Yeah.
LPs. Yep.
I love that. I think that's a huge tip that a lot of LPs should implore.
Hmm.
The other thing that you said was talk with tenants. I think that's very smart. I mean, what better way are you going to determine if the person's a good property manager, right? Because
Hmm.
if your customers aren't happy, you're going to have higher turnover, which leads to an unsuccessful business model. So,
Yeah.
two great tips: one, talk with the previous investors;
Hmm.
and two, talk with tenants if you're able. So,
Yeah.
I love that. What can you tell us about the current state of the manufactured housing industry and where you see it going into the foreseeable future?
Well, current state, I think, again, affordable housing as needed as much as ever, uh, probably more important than ever in the current state of economy. And I would say that I'm not really worried about not having paying tenants, because unfortunately, or it just however the life, I guess, happens, is those residents who are not able to pay, they will be replaced potentially with the residents who are coming from single family homes, or coming from apartment buildings. They come into communities, and there will be always someone to rent in our communities and across the United States. So I don't see anything concerning. I would just say that we all in the industry will probably need to step up, because demands are, and level of expectation, I think, is getting rather high, and I think we truly need to do our best to be up to par with that.
Yeah, maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, I think I follow you because I know that, there's a lot of mom and pop owners that have a lot of deferred maintenance in these communities, because
Yeah.
they're the baby boomers that are using these as retirement vehicles, and they're not reinvesting into the assets. So that's one thing that excites me, is that there is so much opportunity to come in and clean up these assets. And there's new operators that are doing that, like yourself and our operation. But maybe you can share a little bit more about that topic.
Sure. And I think, as again, as manufactured housing is becoming such a hot topic, and large institutional investors are after it, everybody's really is looking to invest one way or another in mobile
Yeah.
home parks at this time. So more and more attention is being brought to this real estate niche, and I think as we get in attention, also some dogmas and some cliches are coming up as well. Trailer parks, trailer
Yeah.
trash, and all this very unpleasant ones. So I think this is our chance right now to change this by being very professional about what we do, and delivering, over delivering for our residents, because there's plenty to go around for us. Truly, those who invest in parks, they know how well of a wealth creating vehicle parks can be. There is truly not there is no excuse for us not to bring parks to their best potential, um, cure deferred maintenance, bring it up, clean up, pressure wash homes, repair roads, do whatever is really necessary, and make this a true community, looking like a community, looking like a family friendly park and place to live. So I think this is an opportunity for us, really. And
Yeah.
then cities will not feel as bad anymore about the trailer park once they become communities, and they become a true pride of ownership. So I think, with a spotlight on us, there is a lot of responsibility for us as operators, as a new maybe investors in the space, uh, to do a great job.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. That stigma that our listeners know is around this asset class, and as new communities are being purchased and improved, hopefully we can do away with that at some point. But yeah, that's great insights. Katerina, what does the perfect mobile home park look like in your eyes?
Well, perfect as an end product, so to speak.
I kind
Or
of leave it open ended. You can answer it how you want it. Some people have said, uh, that they look at a park that provides a good return to investors, whatever that may look like. Or some have said that it's 100 lots, all tenant-owned homes, and direct bill utilities. Right. So,
sure.
what would you say is most important, or what the perfect mobile home park looks
Mhm.
like?
Well, I think, I would answer it this way. So perfect mobile home park uh, deal is the one that we are able to get in and have a lot of upside. So there is a lot. So let's put it this way: lots of projects for us to do. So, for example, submittering, maybe lots of vacant homes. Oh, this is a sweet spot. Lots of vacant homes. Yes, please. So you can come in, rehab those homes, put them back online. So that is something that we are able to, again, do a lot of the heavy lifting, but at the same time, we can increase the value rather quickly because we do our projects rather quickly. So we could increase the value maybe in the course of a couple of years. If a year, it's even better. So, and yeah, that should be rather large park. I would say, well, the larger, the better, and because then again, you don't have to be looking for 10 parks. You can just do this under, in one geographic footprint, just in one location. So lots of park-owned homes, vacant park-owned homes, preferably not terribly distressed. Maybe utilities that we can build back, preferably not electricity, but maybe water. And of course, if we have rents on the market, that is great. And this way, I know that we will be able to truly take care of our investors really well, and I know that we will take care of our customers really well. And then we will turn it into, hopefully in a couple of years, we'll turn it into something really boring, meaning totally submitted, totally tenant owned, resident owned, and just very uneventful. So that would be ideal. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I can relate. Stabilized assets are a lot easier to manage versus the ones with tons of projects going on.
So that's why we prefer to just attack it, do it real quick.
So tell me about that. We touched on it earlier, but say you have a project in Michigan, right, which is like right in the middle of LA, New York, Atlanta. Does someone move on site, or do you find someone on site to manage a project? How does your team handle those projects? Because that's your niche, right? You go after the big value add stuff.
Yes, and well, for that, it's a teamwork. It's truly teamwork. Neither one of our partners would be able just to pull it off just by ourselves. It's truly a team effort. So we just map out, and again, we all have, I think, pretty good understanding of project management. So we just divide and conquer. We divide the project and put one person in charge. So it's a lead on the project, let's say electrical submittering. So we had a new partner in that deal who was taking lead in electrical submittering. So Dimitri, so he was leading that. And then myself, I was supporting him and helping out, just do coordination with the help of park manager and so on. So we divided those projects. My partner Nick, he was leading turning units, so rehab units, rehab and lease. So he was leading that. He had a person who was in charge of the crews, who was doing the actual work on site. So yeah, and they turned 33 units in the course of a year.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we had a water submitter, and again, my partner was in charge, was leading water submittering. I was helping with coordination because I'm mostly doing asset management, so day to day. That includes park manager and staff. So yeah, just divide and
teamwork
conquer.
makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Well, I applaud you guys for working together, because it definitely needs a team to attack value add projects like that.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the value proposition at M2K Partners, and what makes your operation different?
Well, I think our value proposition is that we go slow, and we vet a lot of projects before we purchase one. So I think we tend to go rather maybe slower, but we look for great deals. So many may say that, but that's just from our track record. That's exactly how it looked. So yeah, we've had a lot of projects, and we would pick one that we could truly just, as I was just mentioned a minute ago, just really attack and just really do all of them really quick, and turn the park around, and then maybe refi or sell. And I think partnerships, we truly enjoy partnerships. And from project to project, we had repeat partners staying with us. And that is why I think we never really had to go out and look for funds. In the last project, we had two new partners who joined us, but they also were new to the industry. They were very eager to learn. So for us, it was perfect. We said, okay, we would accept you. We could just raise money from our previous partners and we'll have them. But since you guys want to learn, we do have plenty of projects in this property. So all right, let's do this. And I think we just really enjoy working in partnerships with others. And we would always welcome new partners to come, maybe if they bring, well, of course, it's ideal if they bring a deal. Yes, that would be great. But even not, maybe they local to the market. I think partners is amazing. Just I always enjoyed working with partners. New partners is awesome.
What? Tell me. So, do you guys do like joint ventures for your acquisitions, or do you raise money through like a 506 syndication or?
No, that was joint ventures. Most of this was joint ventures, and we were able to just pull things together by virtue of people knowing, so they would feel more comfortable investing more.
That's wonderful. Maybe can you share some info about the MHP Tribe, the meetup that you do, and how people can find it?
Sure, absolutely. Well, Andrew, passion project of mine, MHP Tribe. This is, I always remember how I was truly helped when I was getting started. Charles D. Hart was awesome. He helped myself, my team, spend so much time helping us underwrite our first deals. And I think MHP Tribe, which is a group on Facebook right now, this is the community where we have people who have experience and who have many parks and who have no parks. And we come together every Monday and we have calls, our community calls on different topics. So this is, what is it? It's February already of 2021. So this quarter is completely dedicated to turnaround projects. So we started in January with the market, with management turnaround. Now we are on submittering. So last Monday we were on just water submittering and so on and so forth. So we're just continuing all types of turnaround projects, which will include electrical submittering, infill projects, lease up options, and all this. Continuing into Q1, maybe we'll touch on Q2. So yeah, and everyone comes, and whoever has the best knowledge, they would share, make presentation, we discuss it, and yeah. And once a month we have a meetup when we have a guest on, again, specific topic. This February we have Jimmy Johnson coming to us to talk about how he was able to make such a successful MHP wholesaling business. So we're very curious how he finds his deals.
That is fantastic. And I do follow the group on Facebook, and I'm just so in awe of the consistent amount of content that you put out through that. So if any of our listeners are interested in the active, mobile home park ownership operations side of things, that is a great group to become a member of. Ekaterina, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. How can our listeners get a hold of you if they'd like to do so?
Sure. Well, Andrew, thank you. It was my pleasure. Definitely highlight of my day. So it was great, and thank you for great questions. I really enjoyed sharing about our team, and you can find us at mhpteam.com. This is the website for M2K Partners, mhpteam.com. MHP Tribe on Facebook. It's a group on the Facebook, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. That is it for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Would you like to see mobile home park value add projects in progress? If so, follow us on Instagram at Passive MHP Investing for photos and awesome videos from our recent mobile home park acquisitions. Once again, that's at Passive MHP Investing on Instagram. See you there.